Hey everybody, welcome to The Orphan. This is Jerry Corbett and I am your host for these few moments. Hey man, look, spring just sprung on Monday. Monday the 20th was the first day of spring 2023. Listen, in the day that spring arrives, there is exactly an equal amount of sunlight and darkness in both hemispheres of the earth. And that, my friend, brings about longer days the next day. And look, it's so good that you've joined us, because we're going to talk about God's character being shown forth in spring. Now, hey, I was right here one time last year and I showed you the beauty of this wonderful place I love to come called Jones Lake, and I'm going to step out of the picture just 1 minute and let you see that it's springtime and God is doing an awesome work. Be right back. Is that not fantastic? Is that not awesome? And look, what I want to do today is share with you, since it is the season of spring, I want to remind you that in springtime, we see God's character shine forth. In springtime, we see God's character spring forth. And when we see God's character spring forth in a new season like spring, man, it is good to give God praise and glory, because all year long, the earth is full of His glory. And today is no exception. My friends, look at the blue sky behind me. Look at this wonderful water. Look at this tree line. Man, the earth is full of His glory. And I'm glad that you are with me here. And I want to talk to you about 3 ways that we see God's character spring forth in springtime. All right, here's the first thing that we need to see. We need to see God's character in springtime because we see God's creativity. We see how creative God is. Look at that. Look there, the tree line. Look at the water. Do you hear the breeze? God is creative. The sunshine. Man, even though today is a bit brisk, it is still God doing God's thing. It is still God working out salvation for you and me. It is God who made the sky. It is God who created trees. It is God who created water. It is God who created breeze. It is God who created you, who created me. And when we see spring coming, we should see God's creative ability. Look at how things are changing. Look at how stuff is being made different now. Look at God's creativity in the sense that the days are longer, in the sense that the temperatures are warmer, in the sense that old man winter had to take a nap because spring sprung and put him to bed. I'm telling you, you've got to see God's creative ability in all you see. And when spring comes, we see in no other season of the year God's creative ability. Look at the pollen. Look at the bees. Look at the bugs and the flies. They come out again. Look at the animals. They begin to shed. Look at, it's because they don't need as much hair and much fur as they needed in the wintertime. God's creative ability, we see it all the time, that which was dead is coming to life. All right? So when we see spring, remember, the first thing we see is God's creativity, God's creative nature. God can step out on nothing and make this lake. God can step out on nothing and paint this sky blue. God can step out on nothing and create all these trees you see right here behind me. And friends, what I'm telling you is God is just an awesome God. And in springtime, look for God to be creative. All right? Not only that, but in the springtime, not only is God creative, but God brings joy. The second thing you need to see is God brings joy. Now notice, It is amazing because have you seen how much the flowers are blooming? Have you seen things start turning yellow and red and blue and pink and white? All of those different colors that are filling up the earth. Trees are budding. Those trees that had no limbs on them, no leaves on them, are now beginning to bring forth new leaves. See, and all of that, according to science, brings joy. Spring brings joy because we see the earth change. Look, all that brown grass that was on your lawn is turning green. All those flowers that seemingly died during the winter, they're going to come back to life again. The ground is going to warm it up because the sun is going to warm the ground up. And then look at this, you're going to be able to see stuff shooting up out of the ground. It's going to put a smile on your face. It's going to bring joy to your heart when you see all of these beautiful colors fill the earth. Just as God is filling the earth with color, just as God is filling the earth with newness, He's filling our lives with joy. God is bringing us in the springtime the newness of joy. Listen at this. God brings joy, joy unspeakable, full of glory. You know what that means? God gives us so much joy, it escapes the realm of my thoughts. God gives us so much joy that His joy is more than I could ever conceive in my mind. God, in the springtime, we see His nature, and His nature is joy. That's two things. God in the springtime brings us His ability to be creative. He wakes the earth up and recreates. Then He brings joy by bringing newness and color and light and fullness and longer days and warmer temperatures and warmer ground. He brings joy. And just as He warms the ground, He warms our hearts and brings joy. Lastly, friends, when we look at spring, we can see the character of God. Then we see how faithful God is. Spring helps us see how faithful God really is. Notice this, friends. Go out and look outside. Some of the trees that a few weeks ago had absolutely nothing on them but bare limbs, they're beginning to bud. God has brought them through the harshness, the coldness of winter. God has revived them and brought them back again. In the midst of the winter, it seemed as if the tree was dead. It seemed as if the tree had been forgotten about, almost forsaken. But oh, look at it now and look at it a few weeks from now. Some of you have had your gladiolas bud out, your tulips bud out, your daffodils bud out. Yeah, your potted plants to grow and stand up straight. And friends, today, God is faithful because He kept all of that through the winter. And now that the spring is coming back out. The other day, my family, my mother and my sisters, we were riding, and we looked across the street from where we were, and just all of this lavender hanging out of the trees. And I rolled the window down and you could smell it. Oh my God, what a wonderful smell. And it let me know that a few months ago I couldn't even see the lavender. The lavender was not even there, it seemed like. But the vines were there, nothing were on them. But because it's spring, God allowed sap to flow back through them because He's faithful. And look, it's putting off the smell that it ought to put off and telling us that through the dark, through the cold, through the lifelessness of winter, when everything dies, God didn't die. God stayed faithful. And in due season, God brought it back to life. My brother, my sister, why? Because God is faithful. And listen at this. If it seems like you've suffered a winter, if it seems like you've gone through something, if it seems like you're going through something that won't end, if it seems like death or sickness or pain or brokenness, or you being broke or you being broke down, seems to be the norm, your springtime is coming, because the earth is full of God's glory. And just as God brings flowers and trees and bees and flies back to life, he's going to bring you back to life. He's going to lift you up. He's going to bless you. Watch out. Wait and see. He's going to bless you. In springtime, look for the favor, look for the faithfulness, and look for the character of God in your spring. Listen. When you look for the character of God in spring, you'll find that God has 3 character traits. 1, he's creative. 2, he always comes with joy. And 3, he's always faithful. And he's a faithful God, and he'll stand by your side. He'll never leave you. He'll never forsake you. He loves you, and he says he'll be with you even until the end of the world. Hey, from beautiful Jones Lake, North Carolina, my brothers and sisters, I love you. Stay safe. Happy spring. Peace.